Hi guys, it is Saturday, January 30th. I think I got my days wrong on my last video, but that's okay. Um, okay, so today I'm going to go further on explaining uh, kind of how, a little bit more about how timelines work, but also um, our connection to these stories is kind of what I want to explain a little bit. Is this is gonna be, it's all hard to explain because it's just so not, we're not used to this reality, like the real reality that's going on. We're kept from it. You know, we're taught um, differently. We're taught that, yeah, well, we're gonna soon find out that we've been lied to a lot of stuff. Okay, so as I was explaining before, timelines are changeable to a certain extent. And really, how I try to simplify it every time is like it's like you want to rewrite a novel, and you go, I wasn't happy with that. I want to change the outcome. I want to change it differently. So, but you don't want to lose a lot of the characters. So you say, okay, I don't want to put a whole new character in there necessarily. I just want to make someone in that story do something a little differently for a different outcome. You try to kind of play with it. Then it's almost to the extent where let's say you're so unhappy with that last novel you wrote that you kind of almost want to take it off the shelves and say, no, this is the new re-edited version, which I like better. But it's almost like it was too late. But now it's out there and it's pretty hard to buy up all the old versions that you weren't happy with. Well, anyway, this is going to be kind of difficult to wrap your head around, but like I told you guys on my last one, is I'm kind of a timeline helper. I'm inserted. I volunteered for this. I come in and I try to help steer it to a more positive end. But I'm also here, and this is what they explained to me. We also came here to rescue trapped souls, and for me to try to put this into reality for you guys is let's say these stories, someone wrote you into a story, let's say, whatever. Your essence or your character is kind of connected to that story now. And if that story has got a bad loop over and over and over again or something, you go, well, is there any way you can come back and rewrite that story and put a positive spin on it so that I can release myself from that story? That's kind of what's been happening, is because these worlds that we make are, I call them experience modules. This is where I'll probably try to explain when I use the word module more too, is they're experience modules, and it's like once you've experienced it, as we all know, it's like even our lives on Earth, we've kind of noticed, like, I can't wipe from my memory something that happened to me because it really did happen. Like, for instance, okay, I got in that car accident or something, and it changed my life from there on. And I can't sort of like go, well, I wished it never happened, whatever. But because these are just experience modules that we create, you can actually go back in time, and that's why another reason why there's been movies written about it. But it's true. You can kind of go back in time and say, well, what would happen if I didn't go to work that day? Because that was because when I went to work, it was snowing out. My car slid into the intersection, whatever. That was we want to come back and change those timelines to a positive ending. That's kind of what I help do. Okay, it's kind of, I know it sounds far fetched and everything, but that's kind of what I'm doing here. And it, as far as saving trapped souls, and if you watch any of those ghost hunting TV shows or anything like that, yes, there actually are trapped entities that are kind of like stuck in a time warp almost, and they need to be rescued because they get attached to these storylines and they don't know how to get out of them. Sort of. It's like, for instance, very similar to what we have we call them emotional ties. We do. We have, and yet they're invisible, aren't they? Like you can't, or even for instance, your love for somebody. There's like an invisible tie there. It's like, and you can't get rid of it almost. It's like, and how do you explain that? Because it's not physical, really. It's like in your mind. So these things are a reality, and so we've come back to rewrite these stories, these timelines, to a positive ending because there are souls, which are spirits, and even then that's a little more kind of complicated. I can go into more into that, but anyway, these souls are trapped in that timeline, in that story. And here's the thing, is normally we co-write these stories together, which actually we're still doing that right now. We're it's like, if you can imagine, you said, okay, we're gonna get 100 people and we're gonna write a novel. Can you imagine how complicated that would be? It's like, okay, well, what do you want? Well, I want to make sure at least you have put horses in there because I like horses. And then someone else says, okay, but I also want to make sure that there's a love triangle involved in the story. And what like, what, are you kidding me? And we're gonna make a story out of this? That's what we do daily. In case you haven't noticed, everybody has their own kind of agenda or things that they want to accomplish with their life. That's what makes these modules really interesting. But normally these modules are based on our free will and our consent. As a matter of fact, it's how they're run. So the only way you can change stories is by trickery, like convincing someone. If you're going to go in there going, by the way, if you, it's almost like lobbying to governments or something. It's like, if you write in there the story about this guy that found a bunch of money and gave it away to people or something, whatever, I'll make sure that you get that good promotion or something. You know what I mean? Like, we all get kind of convinced or suckered into different different people affecting us to write a particular ending to your story, which is basically what we do on a daily basis. It's like, I don't really want to do that commission for that person. It's like, I'm really not up for it. But you know what? If you give me enough money, then I know that without money, I'm going to take some time off and I'm going to go to sit on a beach or something. So we all have different motivations for doing things. Well, can you imagine you're writing a story like that all the time? Well, normally how these work is by free will and consent, and it works out pretty good. because really none of us have ill intent on each other. It's more like, hey, can you just do me a favor and put this character in your story, sort of. Anyway, so we're all affecting each other, is the whole point. Now, can you imagine if someone nefarious or someone with bad intentions gets in on that story writing? Well, now you can kind of see where this has been going. So they've been writing kind of a bad story, and we're all participating, but they also, our controllers, want to make sure that we don't know that. They know that we're the ones writing the story, but they're going to influence us to benefit them and not us. So I know I kind of went off a little bit on this topic, but so I'm going to go back to rescued souls. So what we do is there's souls that have these connections, and they're let me put it this way: it's kind of like aspects of themselves. It's like a memory for us. It's like, okay, I remember doing that as a child. There's still a connection there. So it's almost like this child in the past is an aspect of you still to this day, and so even if you're someplace else, you still have that connection to them. So, okay, I guess kind of what I'm trying to get at here and explain is a lot of times these souls have left Earth, even. And yet there's still an attachment. It's almost like a thread to a reality here that they didn't give consent to, or they're not happy with. It's almost like a part of them is still energetic, and they're trapped in a storyline, and they want to be released. They don't, because they didn't consent to that. It's like someone wrote you into a story, and you weren't happy with it, and you know, it wasn't your intention. So you want to get out of there. So that's why, in a sense, what we do is, as timeline rescuers, is we'll come in and say, okay, we're going to rewrite this storyline and get you out of there, like free you of this. Anyway, that's a huge topic. I can go on a long time about that. Okay, one thing I want to talk about is, yeah, okay. And here's the big one: is you got to wrap your head around this one. This is key. Is when Source, which is in a sense all of us as well, came up with the concept of these universes and galaxies and worlds and things like that, it was to play out kind of adventures or different storylines for ourselves. And it is part of kind of an amusement thing, but it's more about learning and experiences than anything else. So I gotta make sure I try to get this right here, but what they explained to me is it's like a never-ending story. It's like our own personal soap operas that we live out. We don't end these stories. Well, we do, and that's another topic. But what I'm saying is, we just let them play out, just constantly play out, and we can insert ourselves whenever we want as different characters, whatever. And it's usually because if we want to learn something or experience something, that will come into, I call it like a reality hologram, because that's kind of what it is. It's like or a physical hologram. So because we are spirit, like spirit souls, which we accumulate a lot of experiences, we go back to source, and that's why you'll hear a lot of this for after death um, you know experiences these people have is, or yeah, like near death experiences. He'll if you listen to a lot of them, is what they do is after this avatar, this physical body dies, they go back to source, and then they're usually guides. Guides, how I look at guides, because I have them too, it's just more like experienced students or experienced people that help you make good decisions, or in a sense, it's almost like they prep you for your new incarnation too. So they'll ask you, it's like, hey, what did you learn on that one? And you're like, okay, what else do you want to learn? Is there something else you want to experience? Where do you want to go next? That type of thing. It isn't always to Earth; it's to other places. Um, so yeah, so we make decisions of coming to these physical worlds, but these storylines, they're like I said, they're sort of never ending, and we don't necessarily always have to pick. Like I said, okay, so where's the story at now? Like how is it expanded or whatever? Um, you can actually pick a certain timeline to re-experience things too as well, and that's why time doesn't really matter outside these physical holograms. And and a lot of people come in and they still remember uh, who they are, their their past life experiences and things like that too. But as a general rule, you come in with your memory erased, basically, because and like I said, it's a choice that you make on purpose. You come in because you want to have a whole new experience. So you come in with your memory wiped out, and it's like a whole new experience. And you sign up for it, you really do. But what you don't sign up for is to be enslaved. That is, let me put it this way, it's like against the rules of all of these holograms. You're not supposed to interfere with them unless you're invited in, or you're here for a particular reason to fix things or whatever. Um, but even then, can't really interfere too much. Um, that type of thing is what is going on. So a lot of times, um, these connections that we have are etheric, and what I mean by that is it's more like energetic. So you can be, and that's why the movie Avatar really helps to explain that as well. You can try to affect things from the outside. It's almost like as if you're a gamer and you're looking in in the game, and you can actually kind of control it with your joystick to a certain extent. You know what I mean? Or make it do something, like make it pick up food or treasures or something, or whatever, defend itself. You kind of give it a heads up too, because if you see some danger coming, something bad is going to come, you can say, hey, hello, watch out, there's something bad coming. That generally, by the way, is your higher self speaking to yourself, speaking to your character, going, watch out. It's because you don't want your character to get hurt. So that's a reality too. It's like I said, it's kind of like our etheric self. I mean, yeah, it's a huge topic. I'm hoping I'm making some sense to you guys. I'm basically trying to make this as simple as I can, but trying to give you some real basic information, so you kind of, what I really want you to do by listening to my videos is do your research. In other words, if I can spark some sort of inspiration in you to do a lot of research for yourself, go inside yourself too. In other words, ask yourself or source, you know, even if you want to, I guess, pray to God, um, you know, to give you enlightenment about of this or teach you more. So I'm basically trying to spark you to, I call it waking up because this is a reality that you're going to know fairly soon. And then, uh, or just do research and find out what makes sense to you. You know what I mean? Because I'm in a sense just relaying my my perspective of this. So you can take it or leave it. I mean, I'm just kind of just relaying what I've been shown and what I've researched. So, okay, I'll figure out what the next topic will be for the next video. So that's it for now. I'll talk to you guys later.